So the E51C is roughly 14 centimeters, just under 14 centimeters long, whereas the E52C measures at 15, just over 15 centimeters. But the bezel is where a lot of the difference is, you know, like 30, sorry, not 30, but 28, roughly 28 millimeters, and this one is 24 millimeters. So even a few millimeters does add a decent heft onto it. But at the end of the day, both of these are still very pocketable. This is the E52C is more on the larger end of EDCs that I own. The E51 has a P9 Osram P9 LED in there, and it's basically a 1600 lumen output flashlight. You've got that orange peel reflector. This one produces 3000 lumens with the XHB 50.2. So that's the main upgrade that I see with the E52C. In terms of the UIs, very similar. I do find that the UIs are just easy to use. This one here, you sort of, so you click on that end button and it goes straight to turbo, okay? And click again and click again, it sort of cycles through the 3 modes. Another thing you can do, you can actually put it onto momentary mode, so you can press and hold for turbo, and then medium, and then low, so basically high, medium, low. Once you're happy with the mode, you can click to seal it in. Accessing strobe is pretty simple, just double click. Accessing turbo is pretty easy. All you have to do is just double tap, okay? And you can actually click the button in to lock it on to turbo. So pretty simple UI, especially if you don't want something that really takes too much time to learn or pick up. You're giving it to a friend as a gift, or maybe just keeping it as a simple thing, a simple flashlight to store in your car. I think having something like this is fantastic. You can just work it out, don't need an instruction manual at all. So I did talk a little bit about the overall output already. The beam profile for both these lights are quite similar. So they're more on the floody end, though they do have a large hotspot that's visible in the center, but it blends nicely into the flood. I find that the beam profile is just really nice and smooth, pleasing to use, especially if you're using a flashlight for close or medium range distance. Absolutely perfect. You're going to be able to get a few hours of use out of both of these flashlights on the highest mode, though they do ramp down eventually. And obviously, if you switch them onto the lower modes, they will have a lot more runtime. I'll leave the links in the description so you can have a look and see exactly what the runtimes are for both of them. But basically, they're both quite practical to carry around as an EDC. And I do really like the tail clips on both of these. I find the E52C just has a much more rigid tail clip, but the E51C still has a fairly rigid tail cap, and that's something that Nextorch definitely feature on their flashlights. And high tensile steel, and they feel very sturdy indeed, not something that's just going to fall off when you clip it on. So if you're deciding on which one to get and you just want something brighter, you don't mind the extra size, maybe a bit of extra runtime, I reckon get the E52C. Another cool thing I forgot to mention as well is that both of them come with these unscrewable heads, so you can actually open them up and access the charging port here. So I think that increases the level of water resistance, just makes torchlight look sleeker. You don't have to worry about that little plastic or rubber cap falling off at any time. Very nice. Don't get any dust underneath the bezel as well, because there's some type of seal in there. But again, if you're looking for something a bit smaller, I think this is a good option. 1600 lumens. It doesn't run as hot as well as the E52C. And yeah, I think this is more on the lines of a traditional EDC. This one is definitely getting more on the larger end of EDCs, but it's more so because it's got a larger diameter. Apart from that, I mean, it's really almost the same length, probably another added centimeter and a bit over the E51C. So if you have any questions about these lights, just leave them in the comments. I will get back to you. And if you like the video, if this has helped you out, make sure you click the like button. It helps me get my videos out to more people and doesn't cost you anything. If you also want to see me make more reviews, make sure you click the subscribe button. We're going to cut now to some beam shots. E51C versus E52C. E51 here on the left. Okay. E52. E52C. It's brighter. significantly brighter. E51C, E52C. It's not a great deal brighter, but it's certainly, I can see the difference. Definitely see the difference. The ground in front of me is just illuminated a bit more, and also I've noticed that the actual beam and flood is wider. The E51C here, you know, versus the 52C. It's just got a bit more of a wider beam, but I mean fairly similar, really. I mean, if I had both on me, especially when they start ramping down, you know, you're gonna have troubles telling which is which. Bugs all over the place, doing my head in. And interesting, the E51C is actually a little bit brighter at the moment and than the E52C, so it's just not ramped down as much. And I think Nextorch should probably program the E52C to ramp down a bit faster and more aggressively, just due to the amount of heat generated, because the E51C's got a P9 LED in there, doesn't generate as much heat, so it can hold, yeah, definitely can hold its lumens for longer. So that's really interesting. I mean, look at that. The 52C here can't hit those trees at the back, but this one can, the E51C. So let me just change the modes. Okay, there we go, back again, and it's ramped up again, and has very similar throw. 51, 52, 51, 52, 51, 52. So yeah, interesting sort of pattern, the ramping patterns.